Most people think companies only make money when you buy something. That sounds logical. But in reality, businesses don't need you to pay. Even if you're just watching a video, not buying anything, and not even clicking on ads, you still have value to them. The only question is, what kind of value? Think about it. You open an app, you scroll, you stop on some videos and swipe past others almost instantly. You're not paying a cent, yet massive companies are willing to spend billions just to keep you there a little longer. Why? Because every second you stay isn't just a view, it's a signal. Companies track what you pause on, what pulls your attention, and what keeps you from closing the app. And those signals are worth money to someone. While you think you're just consuming content, another system is already running in the background. It's making money, even if you never buy anything. And this is only the first layer. On average, a person spends 6 to 7 hours a day in digital services, social media, video platforms, apps. That's nearly 40% of their waking time. And someone is buying that time. In the US, the cost of 1,000 ad impressions ranges from $5 to $30, depending on the audience. But here's the catch. Audiences with predictable behavior are worth much more. A user who simply watches content can generate $1 to $3 per month for a platform. That sounds small. But multiplied by 100 million users, it becomes hundreds of millions of dollars a year, without a single purchase. And that's just advertising. It gets more interesting. Companies don't measure how much you've paid. They measure how much you might pay over your lifetime. That's called lifetime value. Even if you've never bought anything, your projected value can be $50, $100, or even $300, simply because the system sees you behaving like people who do pay. That's why companies spend massive budgets to keep you around. Major platforms can spend 40 to 60% of their revenue on user retention, not on the product, not on the service, on making sure you don't leave. Here's another number. On average, only 2 to 5% of users ever pay directly. Everyone else buys nothing. And yet, without them, the business doesn't exist. So the system is built this way. Most people never pay, but the majority is what makes the model profitable. After that, the question changes. Do you still think that if you're not paying, you're not participating? Because attention is only the surface. Attention isn't valuable on its own. It's valuable for what comes next. Companies don't make money from you directly. They make money from other people using you. When you use a service for free, you create scale. You become a metric, user count, activity, time spent in the app. And those metrics are what gets sold. An advertiser isn't buying your view. They're buying access to a market you're part of. The chance to be where people already are, where there are a lot of people. That's why free users matter so much. They create the crowd. And wherever there's a crowd, money always follows. Not your money, someone else's. The more people inside the system, the more expensive access becomes. And it doesn't matter which one of you pays. What matters is that someone will. You can go years without buying anything. But if you're still there, the business is already using you as proof of value for others. That's how companies grow, even when most users never pay. And that changes the core rule. The question isn't who pays. The question is who creates the environment where others are willing to pay. In traditional business, the model is simple. You show up, you pay, you leave. But modern companies need more than that. A sale is a one-time event. What they want is stability. So the real value isn't whether you buy something. The real value is predicting what you'll do next. Will you buy or not? When? At what price? And what might change your decision? When a company can predict behavior, it doesn't need to guess. It knows who to show ads to, who to offer discounts to, and who to leave alone. It knows who is worth spending money on, and who can simply be kept nearby. This is where the real power of free users appears. Even if you never pay, you help the system become more accurate. You're part of a larger picture that allows businesses to reduce risk and increase profit. At that point, companies aren't selling products or services. They're selling predictability to advertisers, partners, and investors, to anyone who prefers results over chances. That's where the illusion of free disappears. Because even if you never buy anything, you're still helping the business make money. Just not today, and not directly. There's one thing almost no one talks about. Sometimes it's actually better for a business if you don't buy anything at all. When you simply use a service and do nothing, you don't leave, you don't complain, you don't delete your account. You become stable. And stability is more valuable than any one-time purchase. That kind of user doesn't create churn, doesn't need support, doesn't introduce risk. They just exist, and that's enough. That's why many companies don't push hard for a purchase. They push for habit, for just checking, for 5 more minutes. Because a user who forms a habit will eventually pay, either themselves or through someone else. But even if you never pay, you're still useful. You make the service feel alive. You create the sense that everyone is here, that this is normal, that this is the place to be. At that point, you're no longer a customer or a product. You're the background, the environment the business quietly relies on every single day. And here's the core idea. Companies don't make money only from people who pay. They make money from people who do nothing, but don't leave. The most dangerous part of this system isn't that money is made from you. It's that you don't have to do anything to participate in it. You don't make a decision, you don't choose a deal, you don't even agree. Everything happens without your action. While you think you're just using a service, someone else is building a business, selling access, signing contracts, and closing deals. Using your presence as a fact. You're not a customer, not a product, not even the target. You're the condition that makes all of this work. And here's the most important part. The system isn't afraid that you'll understand how it works. It's afraid of only one thing, that you'll leave. Because the moment you disappear, you become truly invisible for the first time. Everything before that was participation. Subscribe if you want to understand how business really works. No loud promises, no fairy tales. Brooke on business.